And coming back to where I started, how much some in the media loathe Donald Trump. It does seem that some hate the idea of Trump getting any credit at all from the killing of the Islamic State leader. Now, the ABC ended its report on the killing by gratuitously reminding readers that, by the way, Trump is currently the subject of a widening impeachment inquiry launched by the Democrats. And an ABC analysis attacked Donald Trump for allegedly rambling at his press conference, of boasting and using inflammatory language by calling the Islamic State's followers losers. Oh, my goodness, how he would have offended them. In America, the same story. Trump was just boasting too much. Take CNN's David Axelrod, who just happens to be a former advisor to Democrat President Obama. He complained Trump would have been better served by allowing the announcement to speak for itself rather than engaging in a lengthy victory lap. Well, funny how David Axelrod and all the other Trump critics never complained at all when Barack Obama, of the left, did his own victory lap when he killed Osama bin Laden, head of al-Qaeda.
I directed Leon Panetta, the director of the CIA, to make the killing or capture of bin Laden the top priority of our war against al-Qaeda. I was briefed on a possible lead to bin Laden. I met repeatedly with my national security team last week. I determined that we had enough intelligence to take action. Today, at my direction, the United States launched a targeted operation. After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body.
Is that a victory lap enough for the I Obama fans? How come Trump can't get away with that? Joining me is Daisy Cousens, who runs her own video channel and is also a contributor to the Spectator Australia. Daisy, wonderful to see you. The media just cannot allow Trump a single win, can it?
Well, apparently not, Andrew. You know, I, in my naivety today, thought that perhaps this incident would be the thing that would bring us together, at least just for a moment, that maybe the death of one of the most appallingly evil people to ever walk the planet by the Trump administration's doing would maybe make the media go, you know what, Mr. President, good on you, thumbs up, that you're done good. But apparently, Andrew, not even the death of the leader of ISIS could make the mainstream media give Donald Trump any kind of unencumbered praise. I mean, this has just destroyed my faith in them all over again. And I think not only does this obviously reveal their rank hatred. I know. I have too much faith in people sometimes, honestly, but I think this goes beyond their rampant hatred of him. And I think what they're worried about is that this is going to take the focus off impeachment, because as we know, their 2020 Democratic candidates are terrible, and this whole partisan impeachment push by Nancy Pelosi is to let this shadow kind of fall over Donald Trump through his 2020 campaign. But now he's done something that has made himself look excellent globally. I mean, I don't think there is a single decent person who can say that the death of al-Baghdadi is bad. You know, we're all pleased that this has happened. He's made himself look very, very good. So that's why they're nitpicking and getting crabby about him allegedly boasting. And as he mentioned before, the ABC had to put a little tagline being, oh, Donald Trump is subject to impeachment proceedings, et cetera, et cetera. They just don't want him to have any positive attention at all. And I think it's disgusting that we are living in a time where everyone is just so partisan.
Yeah, well, just coming in, saw one of the top stories of the Sydney Morning Herald website was, don't think Donald Trump will get a boost out of this, you know, election boost out of this. I mean, really, do people really need to be, you know, calm down, it won't help him. Did you think Trump's speech was too boastful and too inflammatory?
No, I thought it was perfectly appropriate, and I wish more leaders would talk about murderous terrorists in similar terms. I love the fact that he was so blunt. I mean, I was pleased to hear that this terrible man who's caused so much appalling suffering and death for thousands of people squealed and died a coward. I was pleased with that, and the reason that Trump did it, and he said this when prompted, was to remove any kind of gravitas from al-Baghdadi and prevent people from painting him like a martyr or for a hero and to remove any respect that you could possibly endow on that man because he was such a horrendous human being. And what it reveals, Andrew, is just how detached these journalists are from the issue of ISIS and how stuck they are in their social justice ivory tower of niceties when it comes to radical Islam. I bet you that the Yazidi women who were kidnapped by ISIS and forced into sex slavery and had all their male relatives murdered in a genocidal attempt would be very pleased with how Donald Trump described this ISIS leader, and even more pleased to realise that he died as such a coward.
Daisy, I think robbing al-Baghdadi of respect is very important. In contrast, we get the Washington Post, which is Trump Hate Central. It ran an obituary of this dead terrorist, initially with this headline until it was changed, calling him an austere religious scholar who'd merely, died. I don't know, a heart attack, cancer. How do you come up with a headline like that, calling someone an austere religious terrorist, actually a head hacker?
Look, this is the Trump derangement syndrome that we see in the media, Andrew. I mean, I saw that and my eyes nearly fell out of my head. I thought, oh my God, what has got into them? But you'll be happy to know that they did get roundly clobbered for that on Twitter in the form of a trending hashtag, as these things tend to go, which was hashtag WAPO death notices. And it consisted of people tweeting under the hashtag these small, short mock obituaries of various tyrants and serial killers throughout history with a similarly sympathetic language. And I contributed to this, of course. I decided to write a mock obituary for serial killer Ted Bundy. And I'll read it to you. And I said, Ted Bundy, former mental health counsellor and cheeky ladies' man, dies with much fanfare at age 42. Hashtag WAPO death notices. So you'll be happy they got roundly mocked for it. And thank goodness they took it down.
Yes, and Ivan Milat, noted nature lover and driver, has also died in hospital. That's also an obit in this same Washington Post vein. Actress, this Trump derangement syndrome is just so bizarre. People don't here, I think, struggle to realise the extent of it. Actress Jamie Lee Curtis, big Democrat supporter, did fundraisers for Hillary Clinton, etc. She objected to Donald Trump saying that Baghdadi died like a dog. She said, all living things suffer when they are blown up. Anyone who's experienced warfare, unlike yourself, Donald Trump, would know that. War is brutal. Dogs are brave, bold, loyal, loving and healing. What was the point of that?
Oh, well, look, we have to be sympathetic to Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, she's obviously in very late stage Trump derangement syndrome, poor thing. We can only sort of pity her. She's so far down the bandwagon, Andrew, that she doesn't know what she's saying. Because if she did know what she's saying, she would know, as you mentioned earlier, that Trump's choice of language in saying he died like a dog was incredibly specific because in Islam, dogs are considered impure. So to call one of these Islamic terrorists a dog or a coward, but especially a dog, is a real cultural insult. And Trump wanted to deliver a particular sting. But reading this tweet, I thought it's almost like she just couldn't think of anything else to say, and so she had to grab the lowest hanging fruit she could find to prove how virtuous she is because she loves dogs and Orange Man bad, Trump bad. It's just... but again, my faith in human beings,
You
Andrew.
didn't go to war, you're mean to dogs, and by the way, the guy would have suffered by being bombed. And I mean, really, it's just nuts.